May 23rd. I'm Amy Corr, and guess who I'm with? That's right, Kevin Van Eck. And we are live out of the Goose Island office. And yes, gosh, does it feel like summer right now? This week has been amazing. Let's hope it sticks. We have a great topic for you today. It's something I am outrageously passionate about. We're going to talk about the P word. That's right, prospecting. But I want you to change your mindset right now because we're going to convert that to tactical outreach. We're hitting into summertime and it's a great opportunity to do it. So on that note, make sure your coffee is hot, or if you're like me and double fisting, you might have some lemon water because we have to get into a bathing suit soon. Whatever it is that you've got, let's jump into the next episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
So Amy is passionate about it. In fact, earlier this morning she stormed in and she was yelling about this topic. But it's a good one because we talk about prospecting all the time. We don't talk about tactical outreach in the way that we should. And one of the things that Amy was talking about that she heard from agents was that prospecting isn't working. Now, I'm glad that those agents brought it up because it gives us an opportunity to understand what they're doing and how they're acting and what they think prospecting is. And of course, it turns out it's not the most effective way to prospect. When we talk with agents, what they say is they're reaching out, but nothing's happening. So the next question is, how are you reaching out? What are you saying? What's the conversation like? And we know things like Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And those are important things to connect and figure out what's going on. But what we're not doing is actually generating referrals or future business or growing our pipeline by just talking about those things. We do have to provide some sort of value. Those Ford questions are bumpers at the front end and the back end of the conversation, as you may have learned in Ninja. But what we need to focus on is really making our prospecting effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we want to talk about kind of three things. There's lots of things you can do, but I just think three things we can really focus on. And the first one is to get organized and to have a plan. You know, I think sometimes we get this idea that we're just going to wake up in the morning, go into our CRM and just start smiling and dialing, which is great. But I think where I'm hearing from a lot of agents is as they're doing that, because they aren't prepared, the conversations aren't as good as they can be. And here's the thing, if you get somebody live, you need to make the most of that conversation because you want it to get you further down the road to the next conversation, or even better, the next, maybe in-person opportunity to see them. So how do we get organized or plan? What I would encourage you to do is most of the time, towards the end of the evening, I know that I do this, I kind of get myself ready for the next day. I kind of put my to-do list together and I kind of focus on what are the meetings I'm going to be doing, what are some of the people or who are some of the people I'm going to need to be reaching out to. But then I also spend time taking the next step, which is really taking a look at who I'm going to be engaging with, what am I going to be talking to them about? So how do you plan for those great calls the next day? You go onto their social media channels, take a look at what's going on in their life. You need to kind of figure out, how am I going to be able to make a connection? And the beauty of it is, let's take a scenario. Let's say you go onto somebody's website or on their Facebook and you end up seeing that, maybe they are looking for somebody to dog sit for their dog for a couple weeks over the summer. Maybe you happen to know somebody who does dog sitting on the side. That gives you the opportunity the night before to figure out, I've got not just one person that I can reach out to, but two. I can reach out to my contact who needs the dog sitter, right? Yep. But then I can also reach out to another contact who may be able to provide the service. But if I'm not looking at that stuff ahead of time, the night before that I'm getting ready to make contact, when I'm reaching out to that person, their vacation may not even come up in the conversation. So think about how you can make sure you're ready for the conversations or how you're going to reach out the next day. Being prepared is going to allow you to have way better conversations. It's going to allow you to deepen the relationship, and it's going to maybe be able to have you help them with something that's going on in their life. And that's how you start really getting referral-based business.
It's a great tip. I mean, you have to plan and prepare because we all know what it's like when you sit down in the morning, you have 30 minutes blocked out, and then you think, who am I going to call or what am I going to say? You're not going to do it.
And then the 30 minutes are over.
Yes.
And then you're on to your inspection. And we sometimes do that on purpose, let's face it, because we don't love the prospecting. But we got to just figure out how to double down on this. Now is the time. It's summertime.
Yes.
What you're doing right now is going to impact your August and September. Start thinking about that now. If you take great steps, if you get yourself organized, you're going to have amazing prospecting and some great opportunities to reach out to clients over the summertime.
That's right. And if you know what you're going to say, it makes dialing that much easier because you don't have the fear of what am I going to talk about? You already know.
Yep.
All right, so number 2, we're going to talk about showing up. So depending what market or region you're in the Midwest, now is the time to get outside and go and see people because it's nice out and we have the opportunity. But regardless of what market you're in, one of the rules we want to say is just say yes. When you're invited somewhere, when you have an opportunity to see someone face to face, take it. Either way, say yes. So I'm telling myself that as well. Say yes, go and see people because it's an opportunity to meet someone face to face and then can make that connection stronger, whatever your relationship is. And the other piece of it is it's really easy to show up at a summer bash or to show up at a 4th of July party or whatever it might be. Also, go to the things that maybe aren't so fun. Yeah. So if you have a client who's going through a tough time or you have a contact or a referral source, maybe someone in their family passed away, take the time to go to the wake or to go to the funeral or let them know you're there. Even though it's not, of course, the most positive or fun, it's going to have a huge impact on your relationship with that client, referral source, or contact.
Yeah, I love that. That's such great advice because I really don't think people show up enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always we're way too busy or I had a plan to do that, but just make that your mantra over these next 3 to 4 months, and I think that will make an incredible difference in the people that are in your database and really just the relationships that you're trying to deepen.
Right.
You know, I love
and I
that.
think that the other thing too is we say this all the time when you're talking with somebody and you say, oh, we should get together. Mm-hmm. Or, oh, we should grab a drink, or we should grab a coffee, or we should meet up.
Happen.
Do it. Actually, put it on the calendar, set a date, because it's going to actually it'll never happen if you don't do that.
We all have done it. And now I say, okay, let's do it right now.
Yeah.
I do that. I did it with my girlfriends on Friday night. We said, let's get a date for the next time we're going to get together because it's been 2 years. You know, so it's really just taking that next step and getting it on the calendar. I love it. I love it. So the last tip, which also I think is just so important, is, you know, sometimes we don't want to lead with real estate, which I agree with. You know, it's about the relationship. It's about figuring out what's important to them. But then there are times in the conversation where it pays to just be really direct, not to be vague and not to be open-ended. I think as real estate agents, we sometimes get these windows of opportunity in the conversation to get a little bit more direct about how you can help them with something that's going on in their life as it relates to real estate. But instead of going there, we sometimes tend to skirt around the issue or don't take the opportunity. And I'm going to give you a great example. It's back to the dinner that I actually had on Friday night with, actually it was Saturday night, with girlfriends of mine I hadn't seen in forever. And I have a good friend who has been in Wisconsin for about 7 years. Her daughter is going to be going to college in 2. And she has been saying that once the kids are grown, she really thinks she wants to move back to the Chicagoland area. Now, we could have just sort of been vague and, you know, I could have just said, oh, that's great, you know, we'll have to talk later on. But I actually decided to be more direct. And I said, well, let's talk a little bit about it because, you know, what she was afraid of is she didn't know if she could get back into the market here and if she could afford it. So what I had said to her is I said, look, it's never too soon for us to at least explore it for you so that you can figure it out because 2 years will be here before you know it. And if you know now kind of what you're looking to buy in 2 years, you can make a game plan now. So we actually have a follow-up conversation set where we can just kind of talk about real estate because we weren't going to go down that road with the rest of our friends around. But my point is that there was an opportunity for me to just sort of dismiss that or not follow through on the conversation or be more direct about her needs. Right. But I saw it as a great opportunity. And yes, it's 2 years down the road before she may do something. But think about me helping her now and how that could create just other real estate connections. So when you have the opportunity, be direct. Really make sure they understand what it is that your intentions are because they're coming from a great spot. But if you leave things open-ended, guess what? They're not going to circle back. So just make sure you're getting straight to the point and letting them know what great value you can add to them as it relates to their real estate. Even if it's now, 2 years, 5 years from now, you want them to know that for sure.
That's a great example of what happens. It's happened to all of us, right? Where we dismiss or we're sheepish about talking about what we do or how we can help or being direct. So that's cool. What I want to share, what we talked about earlier, Amy and I, when she came in passionately, was we got to stop what not to do when prospecting. Here's the thing. Don't say, I'm just checking in.
Right.
Remove that from your vocabulary. And the reason being, what are you checking in on? What do you, that's not the way to start a valuable conversation. It's not a way to provide value. It's sort of like when you meet somebody and you haven't seen them in a while and you see them face to face and you say, so what's new? That's not a direct question. It's not
vague,
gonna,
it's open-ended. You know, here's what I would replace in your vocabulary. I think you call, you start with forward questions, and then you actually say, the reason I'm calling is.
Yes.
So
Yes.
fill in the blanks and know what that is before you get on the phone. But the reason I'm calling is, hey, I saw on Facebook that you were looking for a dog sitter. I don't know if you found somebody, but I actually have a good friend who does that on the side. Would you like me to get the two of you connected? Right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
reason I'm calling is make there a purpose and an intention for you reaching out, and you're going to see the difference in getting that relationship further down the road and seeing more referrals.
That's such great advice.
All right, but we got to get you out of here because you
Yeah.
have a lot of tactical outreach to get started on this Tuesday morning.
And I need more coffee.
Yes, you do. So do I. All right, so on that note, make it a great Tuesday wherever you are. I hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather. I know we are here. And until we see you next week, remember, you got this.